Right, good afternoon, good evening, whatever you wish it to be. I'm Texas Storm Chasers Baldy and Chief David Reimer. It is 5:51 on Thursday, the 14th of March, 2024. Severe weather has begun in North Texas. We begin our severe weather coverage this afternoon. This is the only severe thunderstorm warning we have in the state right now. We'll talk more in detail momentarily about what we expect well, besides this, we're going to have more storms. A supercell thunderstorm has rapidly intensified across northern Tarrant into southern Denton County. This thunderstorm has quickly become capable of producing at least golf ball size hail. The possibility of tennis ball size hail is likely increasing now for the city of Roanoke up to Marshall Creek, west sides of Trophy Club, up towards Argyle, Corinth, like Dallas. This severe thunderstorm supercell now showing indications on radar of at least golf ball size hail. At this point, capable of at least ping pong balls. It may take a few more minutes for the larger hail to start mixing down. This is a severe thunderstorm warning for northern Tarrant, southern Denton County until the storm's gone, essentially. Moving northeast at about 20 miles an hour, the potential for at least golf ball size hail as this moves northeast at 20 miles an hour. Now, we're going to have to see just how big the hail is going to get here eventually. Clearly on radar, this is what we call a well-organized supercell thunderstorm. You can see little kidney bean shape. That little appendage on the back side is a little concerning. You can see that there north of the Keller label right here. Now, I want to be perfectly clear. We're watching this like a hawk. There are no tornado warnings right now. Low-level wind shear is not particularly strong. So, while the tornado threat is not zero, it is not high either. I want to make that abundantly clear. I think the main issue tonight is going to be hail. Yes, we could have a few tornado warnings, and yes, Mother Nature is going to do what Mother Nature is going to do, so we're going to keep a close eye on it. But looking from a closer radar, the terminal Doppler weather radar here near the President George Bush Turnpike west, technically west of the President George Bush Turnpike and 635, this allows us to get a very low-level look at this thunderstorm. You can see here is your rear flank downdraft. Could have winds coming out the backside, 50 miles an hour. This would be your inflow region right here, and we likely have at least a modestly developed wall cloud right about here. This thunderstorm with its hail moving northeast now across pretty much east of the Texas Motor Speedway, crossing over 114 in Marshall Creek Trophy Club. Probably the traffic jam on 377 trying to get down to 114. This thunderstorm is east of 35W now, moving northeast at about 20 to 30 miles an hour. It is likely producing damaging hail in the city of Roanoke right now, and will continue to move northeast as it does so. At this point, this thunderstorm has the potential to be a well-organized supercell, as it is, and is moving northeast towards Corinth, Lake Dallas, Highland Village, Double Oak, Argyle. If this thunderstorm becomes more organized and we see typical supercell characteristics here, speaking of which, let me make sure the scroll is working. That'll fix in a second. This storm may turn a little more to the right, which would take it closer to Lake Dallas, Highland Village, perhaps the Lake Louisville toll bridge over to, Highland Village over towards Lakewood Village, where some of our storm chasers live, so their vehicles, ironically, they're in southern Oklahoma right now chasing storms. Whatever vehicles they left are probably about to get owned. Okay, why is the scroll not working? Let's see. Interesting. And this is the only severe storm we have going on right now. That being said, I don't like that. I don't like that little hooky appendage at all that's starting. We're looking off the terminal Doppler weather radar. It's a very high-resolution radar that was installed after the Delta Lockheed 1011 crash back in the mid-'80s at DFW. It detects wind shear. We do have other thunderstorms that are trying to develop down the dry line. At this point, they're behaving themselves from Cleburne down towards Meridian, west of Gatesville. We're going to keep a close eye on all these storms. For what it's worth, this thunderstorm now in Denton County, that's a supercell, was behaving itself for a good hour. It was just trottling on along, producing, at times, small hail. Okay, this thunderstorm now in Trophy Club, capable of producing baseball-size hail. So we've gone from itty-bitty hail to poop hail real quick. In fact, your weather alert radios are going off. Let me tell you, a couple notes here. One, baseball-size hail. At this point, if you're in Roanoke up to Double Oak to Argyle, it may be too late. Do not go outside and try to get your vehicle under cover while there's hail. We've been talking about this threat for 2-3 days now, so if you're just waiting to try to get your car to shelter, it is too late. It is better for your car to get hit by hail than your noggin. Second, if you're in Corinth, Lake Dallas, Highland Village, up to Little Elm, New Hope...
Texas local storm report from 2 miles west of Roanoke in Denton County, Texas. Hail magnitude measured 3.00 inches.
Holy moly.
Reported by NWS employee.
Okay, so we've got baseball to softball size hail. So yeah, we went from nothing to poop real quick here, which we said could happen. So I'll let my streamers know real quick. All right, streamers, I'm streaming. We just had a report of 3-inch hail in Roanoke, and it's hooking. So, good news. The forecast didn't bust. That's about the only good news. This storm, capable of baseball to softball-size hail, meaning uh-oh-isms, is moving northeast from Roanoke up towards Double Oak, Highland Village, Lake Dallas, Corinth, Shady Shores. If this turns right a little, it's going to end up in portions of Little Elm, Highland Village, and Flower Mound. At this point, not worried about a tornado. It is the hail that is the problem here. And again, this is a thunderstorm now with a history of producing hail larger than the size of a baseball. So folks really need to be in a safe place. It's going to be away from windows. All right, why is this scroll not updating? Because the computer reset. Why did the computer reset? Because it hates me. We run software locally that generates the warning scrolls, and usually I'm able to run it months on end without intervention, and I did, and it literally just picked now to reset itself. So I need to go in here, make sure the server is running. It is. I need to see why it's not connecting. Okay, it's connected. So we'll get the update here in a moment. But again, we now have larger than baseball-sized hail falling in Roanoke. This storm is going to be moving east-northeast towards the west sides of Flower Mound, Double Oak, Highland Village, Lake Dallas, Corinth, Argyle. All right, let's load this again. For those of you just joining us, welcome. There we go. All right, so to be clear, this is the only severe thunderstorm we have in the state right now. We're expecting more. I'm going to switch over to a loop that'll show you essentially satellite data. Here's the last couple of hours. You can see we were quiet up until about an hour ago. A couple storms went up in portions of Johnson, Tarrant counties. That storm struggle bust as it moved north towards Denton County, and then about 15 minutes ago, it took off like a rocket ship. I mean, it went whoop. And we went from nothing to, hey, guess what? There's baseball-sized hail. We've been warning that is what could happen with these storms. There is a boatload of energy aloft. It's like a mayday in terms of instability. There is juice galore in the hail growth zone, which is why these storms are going to be capable of going from itsy-bitsy little showers to, hey, I'm a raging supercell dropping baseballs on your very expensive roof. And that is exactly what is happening right now if you're in Argyle, north sides of Roanoke, and soon to be in portions of Denton, Corinth, Lake Dallas. It is about time for the biannual or the annual Denton Hailer, isn't it? We usually do that about this time of year in March. So if you are in Argyle, Double Oak, Lakewood Village, Lake Dallas, Copper Canyon, west sides of Flower Mound up to, ooh, I don't like that. To, again, Argyle, you need to have your vehicles and yourself in a safe place. All right, I want to take a look real quick. And again, What I don't like is this hook appendage right there. Now, we don't have a strong velocity signature, but I don't like that. Let's switch over to a terminal Doppler weather radar, and wow, you want to talk about clear-cut reflectivity. Now, this is what a hook echo looks like from close range with a very high-resolution radar. We're talking about the radar that was installed after the Delta Lockheed 1011 crash back in the mid-80s. There's your hook. If there was a tornado, it would be right here. There is not a tornado. Let me be clear. At this point, we're looking at velocity data. If there was a tornado, it would be right there. But again, this is why we look at velocity data. If we had a tornado right now, we'd have very bright greens against bright reds, and with the weather radar literally down the highway. Yeah, but regardless, that is a clear-cut indication of a very well-organized supercell thunderstorm capable of producing baseball-size hail to softball-size hail, moving northeast towards Highland Village, Argyle, Double Oak, Lake Dallas, Corinth, the city of Denton, Shady Shores, Oak Point, Lakewood Village, Little Elm, New Hope, Krugerville, Aubrey. If it turns right, this could be more of a threat to places between New Hope all the way east on the 380 construction zone of hell to Prosper. So get ready, because this storm's a-coming. At the least, it could have golf ball, baseball to softball size hail. At worst, if we end up going into the spinny doom department, we could be dealing with something else besides that. So again, the wireless emergency alerts have gone out. Your phones have likely gone, and that is because this storm has produced hail larger than the size of baseballs in Roanoke. And we typically see the wireless emergency alert system go nutso when that occurs. Couple notes here. As always, welcome to all those who have just joined us or found us. I'm Texas Storm Chasers Baldy-in-Chief David Reimer. I have the mental capacity of a squirrel and the ability to make a fool of myself on camera, but we do these severe weather videos just to try to help folks out. We've actually been around since 2009. I had hair. I no longer have hair, unfortunately. What we're going to be doing is focusing on the most intense storms regardless of population. Right now, there's only one severe storm in the state of Texas, and that's going to be this little angry sucker here in Denton County. This is what we call angry supercell. Hail core, and then your hook echo over 114 in Roanoke. Not all storms with hook echoes produce tornadoes. Let us be abundantly clear in that department. There is no tornado warning, and the Weather Service in Fort Worth is extremely good at doing these warnings. If we had a tornado or we were close to getting a tornado, they put a tornado warning on it. I may be quite unhappy with the National Weather Service as a whole right now because of their new NWS chat policy, but that's not on the individual local offices, and the Fort Worth office is extremely good at severe weather operations. So, no tornado warning. We're going to trust them. So, at this point, again, the reason we probably don't have a tornado warning is we have pretty lackluster low-level wind shear. Tornado threat's not zero, but it is not super favorable either. What is favorable? The hail growth department, and that's what we're looking at here with this thunderstorm from Roanoke moving northeast towards Double Oak, Highland Village, Lake Dallas, Corinth, west sides of Louisville, Flower Mound. Get your vehicles in shelter because it's about to be big ouchies. If you want to know what's going on in your neck of the woods, well, good news. We've got a free mobile app. Search for Texas Storm Chasers where you download your device's apps. We've got this live coverage in the app. You can get your local weather forecast down to your neighborhood. Hint, there's going to be more storms over the next week. You can track these storms with our super duper awesome blossom high resolution rapid updating radar. And hey, you know what? We've got storm chasing video too. In fact, guess what? We've got storm chasers out and about. We have storm chaser Adam Lucio, storm chaser and meteorologist Jason Cooley. They're both in southern Oklahoma right now, up in Texoma with this tornado-warned storm east of Madill, Oklahoma, north of Lake Texoma. And then we also have storm chaser Stephen Jones. He's actually in, I believe, Illinois right now. But again, we're going to be focusing on the storms here in Texas. That is what we do here at Texas Weather Center. I used to storm chase a bunch. I no longer do. My job is to provide y'all with the latest updates because we saw a need and a service for that, and for some reason, God has gifted me the ability to do this. Trust me, I don't understand it. I fought it for years, but you know what? You fight God's path long enough, at some point you just gotta go with the flow, follow that path, and things tend to work out, and they have so far. So that is why I am here. And again, a severe thunderstorm with a history of producing baseball-sized hail is located now over Roanoke, moving into Double Oak, Highland Village, Corinth. The hail core with this storm has become larger and is expanding northeastward. So again, this is a storm with a history of producing baseball-sized hail. In fact, I'll pop the report here. A National Weather Service employee 2 miles west of downtown Roanoke reported 3-inch diameter hail that's larger than a baseball at 5:53 p.m. I don't know what the Weather Service employee's name is, but that's an ouchies. This storm moving northeast about 20 to 30 miles an hour will continue towards Highland Village, Lake Dallas, Corinth, Little Elm, Oak Point, New Hope, Krugerville. Let's start giving some times. And again, this is for the center of the hail core, so it may be a little earlier. Corinth, next 10 to 15 minutes. Oak Point, probably 6:30 to 6:40. New Hope, probably 6:35 to 6:45. Little Elm, if this storm turns right, 6:35 to 6:40. It would be a good idea to be on Interstate 35E right now or over the next 35 minutes. I mean, it's usually never a good idea anyway, but if you value your vehicle's appraisal and worth, you really don't want to be on that interstate when this hail core comes rolling across. And again, this is a thunderstorm capable of producing baseball to softball size hail. Y'all remember last June when we got to play with hail galore? Well, we're doing it again. Welcome to March 2024, ladies and gentlemen. We've been talking about this setup for several days now and how the hail parameters were quite impressive. Well, guess what? The hail parameters were impressive. This storm went from producing nickel-size hail to baseball-size hail in a matter of 15 minutes, and clearly this thing has got one heck of a storm structure to it. I mean, you can see it here. I'll draw. I like drawing. I draw like a 4-year-old, but it's something I can do on occasion. All right, take a look. There's your hail core right there. That is hail. It's not, H is not for summer of hell. No, that comes later this year. That's hail. That's your hook echo. If we had a tornado, it'd be on the appendage of that hook right there. We do not have a tornado. I want to make that abundantly clear. Here's the which way the wind's blowing mode. If we had strong low-level rotation, we'd have bright green against bright pink. In fact, here, let's do something unusual. Let's just go look at one of these tornado warnings near St. Louis, Missouri. Take a look. You see that? You see those bright greens against the reds? There's one signature. Let's take a look into, what is this, Illinois? Southern Illinois near Nashville, Illinois. That storm's garbage. I don't know why it's tornado warned. Let's take a look at some of these storms up in Ohio. You can see here's a storm near Ohio. Now, holy moly, sweet guacamole. You want to talk about a good example of a tornadic signature on radar? Here's your wind. This is Ohio. Blues, very angry, moving towards the radar. Reds, moving away right there. That's what we call gate-to-gate couplet. All right? In fact, you want to know how strong that wind is? We'll look real quick because that's actually really strong. 70 towards, 40 away. So there's 100-mile-an-hour gate-to-gate shear with that storm in Ohio. And it's tornado warned. You can see why. Back to our state and our object lesson for this evening. Let's go back and take a look at the storm here in Denton County. Come on, radar. Be nice. Here you go. Here's the reflectivity signature. Yes, it has a hook, an inflow notch. This storm undoubtedly is a very photogenic supercell. But in terms of tornado potential, we just don't have very strong low-level wind shear right now. We're going to watch this thing like a hawk, and this thing's producing baseball to softball size hail. In case you're wondering, yes, that will break your windows. Yes, that will destroy your roof. And yes, that means we're probably going to end up with one of these several $100 million hail issues again. But I'd rather your roof be destroyed than your skull. You want to know what a piece of hail the size of a baseball falling out of the sky at 80 to 100 miles an hour due to a human skull? Well, if you really want to know, go Google it, but I wouldn't recommend it. Now, looking back at the which way the wind's blowing mode, yes, we do have a bit of low-level convergence here. We have winds in the red moving towards the updraft of this supercell. That's normal. Very weak rear flank downdraft, that's the green. Notice how it's actually up here near Double Oak. We're not seeing any sort of intense low-level circulation with this thunderstorm west of Flower Mound. That's outflow. So, yes, the storm has a hook. It is a well-defined supercell. It is going to cause mayhem in the hail department, but no, it is not spinny, spinny, doom, doom material at this time. Now, is that necessarily going to remain the case? Maybe not. I mean, for example, take a look at this thunderstorm northeast of Madill, Oklahoma, southeast of Tishomingo, Oklahoma, east of 6975, north of Lake Texoma. You can see it's tornado warned. It's got strong rotation. In fact, I think our chasers are up there. Let's take a look and see if any of them have a view. You can see Jason is near that storm. Hey, look, it's a meteorologist, Jason Cooley. And again, they're all up there dealing with that and data mayhem. We're dealing with this. Look, the radar thinks we have 4-inch hail. That's unfortunate because it's probably right, given the reports we've had from ground. So again, I'm Texas Storm Chasers Baldy-in-Chief David Reimer. And this thunderstorm produced 3-inch diameter hail in Roanoke at 5:53 p.m. The indications are it remains capable of producing baseball to softball size hail as it continues moving northeast. A good 20 to 30 miles an hour. Those of you in Little Elm, Oak Point, New Hope, Corinth, Lake Dallas, Highland Village, Interstate 35, Echo, between the city of Denton and, let's just say, the Sam Rayburn Tollway, we advise no travel on that right now, given the fact it's about to be pummeled by baseball to softball size hail. Unless you enjoy your vehicle being impacted by that while driving at highway speeds, would not recommend it. For what it's worth, the highway is going to be utter gridlock and stopped because people park under bridges, which in itself is a whole nother story, but one day we're going to find out and be able to show you what happens when folks try to shelter under bridges during a hailstorm and a tornado hits. P.S. Don't hide under a bridge in a tornado. The results usually do not end well. All right, we've got a new severe thunderstorm warning for Denton.
A new severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for Collin and Denton County in Texas. It expires at 7 p.m.
Look at that. We even have one of those fancy super duper awesome automated voice announcers now. We must be big time. This is a thunderstorm over Copper Canyon or near Corinth, moving northeast at 30 miles an hour. This storm is capable of producing baseball to softball size hail. If you are in the communities or towns at this point of Pilot Point, Aubrey, New Hope, Little Elm, the Colony, Salina, Prosper, Frisco, the Colony, Louisville, Highland Village, Corinth, up to Denton, your phones are going because this warning includes what we call a destructive tag. This is a thunderstorm that is capable of doing one of those very expensive multi-million-dollar hail disasters. It is one of those that typically hits Denton every year or two at the beginning of severe weather season that throws baseballs or softballs through windows. We're doing that. So y'all around here, you are well accustomed to the...
Looking due west at the tornado warned storm. It's about 7 miles up to my direct west, so got a good string pointed at it.
That was meteorologist Jason Cooley up here near Madill. I'll show it on stream real quick. They just put a severe out for baseball to softballs, Denton Collin, and yeah. So again, that's meteorologist Jason Cooley. Yeah, we have fancy inter-team communications. If you want to watch their live streaming Storm Chase video, by the way, we have it on our website, TexasStormChasers.com, in the Texas Storm Chasers mobile app, and on the Texas Storm Chasers YouTube channel. For severe weather coverage, we're streaming on everything right now. And again, you're always welcome to view that in our app and site as well. The mobile app actually will notify you when we post a new video. We actually do daily weather forecasting videos, which, if you had been watching, you knew there was a hail risk today, because we've been talking about it for 3 days. So again, Texas Storm Chasers mobile app, it's free. You can get your local weather forecast. We've got great interactive weather radars, storm chasing videos, and live severe weather coverage, plus daily Texas weather roundups. So you can track storms going on in your neck of the woods or across the country. We have that tool available so y'all are able to be self-sufficient when needed, especially when we're dealing with multiple thunderstorms. All right, we do note a thunderstorm here in northern Johnson, southern Tarrant counties, shooting out a bunch of cloud-to-ground lightning. Let's do this real quick. I'm going to turn off the high-res radar. Let's go to the state view. I'm just going to, well, here, let me turn the satellite off. We don't need the satellite. We know there's storms. I want to show you what we have going on here in Texas right now. Notice we were quiet before 5 o'clock. Storm in Tarrant County was behaving for a while. Then it went crazy, and we have other storms trying to develop now. And of these has the opportunity and potential to do what this storm that's dropping softball-sized hail in Denton County right now did, going from nothing to ouchies in the matter of 15 minutes. So again, folks need to be prepared and understand that the most intense storms, they are going to be dropping baseball to softball-sized hail this evening. Northeast Texas, I do want to point out, there is the chance we see a couple of storms try to fire out here by their lonesome over the next hour. We're going to have to wait and see. In fact, while we take a look at this, I'm going to look at a product. It's an experimental product put on by the National Severe Storms Lab called the Warn-On Forecast System. It is a rapid updating short-range model that allows us to see, well, where it thinks things are going to be going over the next couple of hours. Okay. Yeah, I think we might see a little bit of low-level rotation increase with this storm in Denton County over the next 30 minutes, but like other data, we continue to see a weakness in low-level wind shear, which is good. We don't want any spinny doom-dooms on top of softball-sized hail. But this storm probably is going to keep going for quite a while, at least make it into Collin County. And again, we're likely to see more storms through the evening hours. We could even see some activity pop here in eastern Texas. In fact, here, let's do something. I'll look at... This is actually rapid update satellite. This is every 1 minute. What I'm looking to see here is if we have any sort of towering cumulus showing up on satellite data. We're getting closer to sunset, so it's going to be more difficult to see. I mean, I could switch to a product. Yeah, we're not going to do that. That looks like spilled paint to y'all. But we know the storm's trying to go up near Cooper. That could go up quickly. We've got a few beams northeast of Clarksville. Those will move into southeastern Oklahoma quickly. We need to keep an eye on this stuff from Mahia to Palestine as it moves north towards Athens, Kemp, Mineola, Terrell, in case that tries to become supercell activity over the next couple hours. But right now, we're monitoring one intense severe storm, and that is in Denton County. Let's get back to it. Again, if you're wondering what the forecast is for tonight, what's going on near you, the forecast over the next several days, we've done multiple forecast videos and blog posts today. Just go to the Texas Storm Chasers mobile app. You can find it wherever you download your apps, or the Texas Storm Chasers website, texasstormchasers.com, and we've got the forecast there for y'all. We'll take a look at it when we have an opportunity, but for now, hail core, baseball-sized hail over portions of Highland Village, Lake Dallas, Corinth, moving northeast towards Shady Shores, Lakewood Village, Little Elm, Oak Point, New Hope. Eventually, this may be approaching the city of Salina by 7:15, Prosper by 7:05, 380 between New Hope and the Dallas North Tollway. So let's just say FM 720, FM 423 by 6:45 to 6:50. 35E, it's about to cross the interstate now. Around Corinth, the Lake Louisville Toll Bridge exit, Lake Dallas, especially just north of the Lake Louisville Interstate 35 bridge. Denton, probably going to miss out unless it is smaller hail. You might have a little segment try to move into the south side to Denton, but the big hail at this point, Corinth, Lake Dallas, Shady Shores, Lakewood Village. Why, hello, CC. You seem to be enjoying yourself. Yep, you got to see baby dog over there. All right, so let's switch this. We're going to actually try to do this. And again, if you're wondering what else is going on right now, here you go. Here's a radar. We got a storm northeast of Cooper. We'll watch that as it moves towards Clarksville northeast. The potential for baseball-sized hail now falling in Corinth to Double Oak, Highland Village, Lake Dallas. We'll be moving into New Hope, Oak Point, Lakewood Village, Little Elm. The next several minutes, hail reports galore. And again, if you're in Flower Mound, yeah, this is past you to the north now. If you're in places like Roanoke, Argyle, Justin, it's northeast of you. We could see more storms later. That being said, we need to watch this storm trying to fire up in Benbrook down to Burleson. That's on a path to impact some of these same areas as it moves north. That storm right now is just shooting out lightning, small hail, but it could end up producing larger hail. And again, this storm moving northeast at 30 miles per hour, baseball size hail. All right, I need to go pin this live video on to a couple of pages. Give me just a moment, pretty please, and thank you. All right. So yeah, when we do this live coverage, we're streaming on multiple platforms. I just have to go make sure everything is behaving itself. I mean, that's unlikely. Let's be realistic here, but we can imagine, right? For example, didn't share to the Facebook group. And again, if you really want to keep up with us in real time, besides these videos, which you probably got lucky enough to see, we are live streaming in the Texas Storm Chasers mobile app. It's free. Just search for Texas Storm Chasers in your device's app store or where you download apps. And we are also streaming on our website, texasstormchasers.com, along with multiple social media platforms. All right.
Texas local storm report from 2 miles east of Bartonville in Denton County, Texas. Hail magnitude measured 2.75 inches. Reported by emergency manager. Additional information, baseball-sized hail in Lantana.
All right, well, there you go. Got baseball-sized hail in Lantana, which is very near Highland Village. All right, so again, I know a lot of folks are wondering what's going on. We have a single severe thunderstorm producing baseball to softball size hail currently over Double Oak, Highland Village, Lake Dallas, Corinth. Again, multiple reports of baseball size hail. Hail could be up to 4 inches in diameter at times, which is going to be size of softballs or giant hail. All right, make sure this is streaming where it needs to be streaming. It should be. So again, I'm Texas Storm Chasers Boldy and Chief David Reimer. It is, what is it actually? 6:24, the evening of Thursday, the 14th of March, 2024. We have a severe thunderstorm dropping baseball-sized hail in Denton County, southeast of the city of Denton, over Interstate 35E, Echo, from Corinth to Lake Dallas, southwest into Highland Village, Double Oak. Moving northeast at 30 miles an hour, this thunderstorm has a history of producing baseball-sized hail. Moving northeast towards Oak Point, Lakewood Village, Little Elm, Shady Shores, New Hope, Krugerville, Aubrey, Prosper, Salina, north and west sides of Frisco, and again, thank you to all those who are sending in hail reports. We appreciate them. Just please don't do it while it's still hailing. Don't go outside and try to see how big the hail is. Thank you for the report from South Denton of penny-sized hail. Yeah, y'all are barely skirting by there. Y'all are getting lucky. It gets a lot bigger when you're in Corinth. This will be moving across the north side of Lake Louisville, the Lake Louisville toll bridge. Well, at least now I know where the 3-inch hail report came from. One of the bosses of the Weather Service in Fort Worth. Ouchies. So again, this storm moving northeast Oak Point, really now, but the worst probably around 635 to 640. Same for Little Elm, especially west and north sides of Little Elm, north of El Dorado. New Hope, now, but it could get worse through 645. FM 720, FM 423 on 380 between 640 and 650 for the worst. City of Prosper, 705 to 710 for the worst, but it could be hailing way before that. And again, if you're in Roanoke, Flower Mound...
Texas local storm report from 1 miles north of Argyle in Denton County, Texas. Hail magnitude measured 2.50 inches. Reported by Train Spotter.
Okay, so that was Argyle, tennis ball size hail report in Argyle. So again, this is a large hail core. For those of you asking hooks, no low level rotation with this. It could have strong winds, but we do not have any tornado issues with this. Now, we have chasers that are up in Texoma, southern Oklahoma. Meteorologist Jason Cooley is on a tornado-warned storm southeast of Tishomingo, Oklahoma, near Milburn. Pop in and check his stream really quick. We're not going to spend much time because it's not Texas. But if you want to watch meteorologist Jason Cooley's stream, again, you can do so on the Texas Storm Chasers YouTube channel, on TexasStormChasers.com, and in the Texas Storm Chasers mobile app. Those asking why we don't stream that on Meta or Facebook, well, it's easy. Facebook shadow bans us when we do. In fact, they shadow ban most of the stuff we post, which is why we have our own platform, website, mobile app, and post a majority of our content on YouTube. So again, that is why we encourage you to have the Texas Storm Chasers mobile app. It's free. We don't spam the heck out of you. And it ensures you're going to get notified when we post something like a daily weather forecast, live severe weather, tornado coverage, storm chasing video, stuff like that. Plus, you can get your local weather forecast literally down to your neighborhood and track storms with the interactive weather radar, not only for here in the state of Texas, but across the United States as a whole. Do not rely on just getting a notification in a social media platform, especially Facebook. Facebook is trashed for telling you what's going on in real time, especially from us. We have 778,000 followers on Facebook. We're lucky if 2,000 of you see one of our posts. So seriously, we're not paying Meta $20,000 per post so you can see it. If you want to see it, you'll have to just find a way to see it, or, just download our free mobile app. That's why we pay several $100s a month, so you can have that free resource. Okay, storm, hail, golf ball, baseball size hail, Corinth, Lake Dallas, 35E, probably at a standstill right now. In fact, I bet if I pulled up a traffic camera, I would see that. People probably blocking the interstate, parking under bridges, all the stuff we tell folks not to do, but what folks do anyway. And in fact, that is exactly what is going on. One of these days, a tornado is going to hit folks trapped in a traffic jam on the interstate because folks were parked under a bridge. That's why we tell folks not to stop on the interstate and hide under an interstate bridge in a hailstorm, because it blocks the traffic. And if something happens, like, a tornado coming, folks are going to be trapped, and it's just not good. Okay, so it is 6:30 p.m. This thunderstorm capable of producing golf ball to baseball size hail. Ooh, we're going back to the 70s. Nice. Continuing to move northeast. Now, from the north sides of Lake Louisville, moving over Corinth and Lake Dallas, Highland Village. Could begin a good surge of outflow in Highland Village to Louisville. If you're in the city of Louisville, this is going to miss you unless you're on the northern periphery up towards Highland Village. This storm, with its hail, moving into Little Elm, Lakewood Village, Oak Point, New Hope, Krugerville, west sides of Frisco, west sides of Prosper in the next 20 minutes. And this thunderstorm will continue moving to the northeast at about 30 miles an hour. Those of you wondering what else is going on, well, really nothing. We do have a thunderstorm here in southwestern Tarrant County, Benbrook to downtown Fort Worth up 35W. Got rain, maybe some pea-sized hail, cloud to ground lightning, but this storm is not
Texas
severe.
Local storm report from Highland Village in Denton County, Texas. Hail magnitude measured 2.00 inches. Reported by amateur radio.
Okay, so we've got hen eggs, 2-inch diameter hail reported in Highland Village. So again, the continuation of quarter to golf ball to tennis ball to baseball at times size hail. And this storm generally moving Little Elm in the next several minutes up towards the west sides of Prosper, Frisco, New Hope, Oak Point. And again, this hail core, it may start hailing shortly. Here, places Little Elm up towards west sides of Prosper may start hailing shortly, but the biggest hail probably still back over Corinth, the Shady Shores, moving over the north sides of Lake Louisville, up towards the inlet on 380, and then it'll be moving over the lake and into Oak Point, Little Elm, crossing over 720, 423, and eventually 380, because 380 wasn't enough of a traffic jam. All right, let's go back to this. So, with that in mind, let's do this. A lot of you asking what's going to happen tonight. So let's load the high-res rapid refresh model and see if I can't tell you. Stand by. We're going to zoom out to state level.
Texas local storm report from 1 miles east of Copper Canyon in Denton County, Texas. Hail magnitude estimated 1.50 inches. Reported by public. Additional information, report from ping pong ball, 1.50 inches.
Okay, so what I'm going to look at right now is actually the high-res rapid refresh model because I want to see how well it's doing. Now, it technically is overdoing the convection in northeast Texas because none of that is there. This is at 7 o'clock what the model thinks. In fact, let me make sure we don't have radar on at all. This is what the model thinks is going to be at 7 o'clock. That is not there. Now, this stuff back further west, yeah, technically, it may be a little overzealous, but it's a weather model. It's never going to be perfect. So keep that in mind. We want to see how it's doing now. Let's see how it does at 9 o'clock. For what it's worth, hey, stop that. Bad. For what it's worth, this model does have additional supercell thunderstorms entering the DFW Metroplex at 9 o'clock. It's still got stuff in Texoma. It's got some development still east of Dallas. Here's 11 o'clock. Line of storms starting to fire up on a cool front. Southeastern Oklahoma, still a supercell in Lamar County up near Paris. We'll see. That's a possibility. Line of storms, not as intense as these individual storms, all the way back southwest into areas west of the Metroplex. Here's 1 a.m. You can actually see those storms intensify. Maybe some pocket change size hail, quarter golf ball, strong winds. And these storms at 1 a.m., Paris to Greenville to Dallas, moving southeast with the cool front. Sorry, I have a fire scanner on my desk and it's going nuts right now. So something's going on. Here's 3 a.m. Cool front moving southeast. You can see scattered severe storms. Nickel to quarter, maybe golf ball size hail. 50, 60 mile an hour winds. I'm really not going to be too worried about tornadoes at this point. Back southwest, you can also see some storms over San Angelo in the Concho Valley. That's an expectation as we go into tomorrow morning. Here's 5 a.m. We got storms galore. You want storms, you get storms. We got storms in South Texas. We got storms in South Central Texas. We got storms moving northeast into the hill country, the Concho Valley, northeast Texas. Here's 7 a.m. Guess what?
Texas local storm report from 1 mile south of Corinth in Denton County, Texas. Hail magnitude measured 2.00 inches. Reported by amateur radio. Additional information, 2-inch diameter hail in Hickory Creek.
You guys like that new tool we put in over the winter that gives that automated information? It's a good way for us to maintain situational awareness. We're listening to the same stuff you are. I've just got the whatever's playing on the PC speakers here is playing out on the stream. So remind me not to open up some Mariah Carey or something. Here's 7 a.m. You can see storms. 9 a.m. Rain in West Texas. Good. Rain in the Panhandle. Good. Rain in parts of the Permian Basin. Good. And we have some storms still. The Big Country, the Brazos Valley, Southeast Texas. Now, let me loop this real quick. I'm going to put this on a loop. Let y'all look at it. Try to figure out when it's going to storm where you are. This is a weather model. It is not going to handle everything perfectly. Please do not think it is going to be able to handle storm scale specific things. but it at least gives a general idea of what the radar may look like in your part of the state. We're going to have a cool front move southeast tonight. You can kind of see that by, midnight to 6 a.m. The storm's kind of arcing along that cool front. That'll move southeast. It's going to stall out somewhere in south central Texas in the Brazos Valley tomorrow. And by tomorrow afternoon, we're going to be doing this whole hail thing again, except it's going to be 150 miles or 200 miles south, and probably in places like Del Rio, San Antonio, Austin, towards Bryan College Station. Hope y'all like hail. The answer is no, you do not. So again, this is what things look like into tonight. The threat for some of this very large hail will decrease for what it's worth late tonight. We're not going to be dealing with baseballs at 2 in the morning. Knock on wood.
Texas local storm report from 1 mile southeast of Lake Dallas in Denton County, Texas. Hail magnitude measured 1.50 inches. Reported by amateur radio.
Okay, so something to note, hail sizes have come down a bit. Notice the recent reports we're getting are more golf ball size hail to 2-inch diameter hail versus baseballs, which is 2.75 inches. So again, this thunderstorm is starting to actually show a little bit of increased mid-level rotation now for what it's worth. Nothing imminent tornadic, but we're going to watch that. This storm moving northeast, currently over the north sides of Lake Louisville. We've got hail falling Oak Point, Little Elm, Highland Village, Highland Village, Lake Dallas, Corinthal 35E. It'll be out of there in the next 10 minutes. Moving northeast towards Lakewood Village, Little Elm, Oak Point, west sides of Frisco, west sides of Prosper, eventually into Prosper and Salina. And again, this storm has a history of producing baseball-size hail. Currently seems capable of golf ball to tennis ball size hail. Let's look at our chaser wall. Meteorologist Jason Cooley is up on a tornado-warned storm near Medill, Oklahoma and Texoma. He is actually, I believe, doing work for a local TV station in Texoma, which is why he's up here on this tornado-warned storm. And yeah, and again, that's northeast of Lake Texoma. We'll look at his cam real quick, full screen.
A lot of pushing out here.
Again, he's near Medill, Oklahoma. These are not the storms in Texas. So we'll keep that up for a bit, just in case. I mean, I'm not opposed to watching some sort of spinny doom action on a live stream, even if it's 30 miles north of Red River. But here in Texas, we've got our own issues, and that is this storm here over the north sides of Lake Louisville, which, remember how I just said the hail was coming down in size? Well, it just decided to drink some C4, and it's going... Except kind of the opposite of that, because as you see by the very scary dark colors of doom, this thing may be trying to throw baseballs and softballs out again. Mr. Bergdorf, if you're watching, let me know. This storm also starting to show increasing mid-level rotation, which not necessarily is an imminent tornado threat, but will help to enhance the updraft's velocity and thus hail size. So again, those of you in Little Elm, you are about to understand the pain of hearing clattering ice chunks smash into your roof and vehicles. Take it from me, as someone who's had it happen many a times, mostly intentionally, mind you, it's not pleasant. So I apologize for what is about to be several months of insurance unpleasantness, because this is going to be an ouchies. That's an accurate descriptor, by the way. I'm obviously a super-duper professional weatherman on TV, you know, spending $150,000 to get a meteorology degree just to make it official. I don't have a meteorology degree. We have meteorologists on staff. Meteorologist Trey Greenwood, he has I think it's a bachelor's in atmospheric science, both of which very difficult to get and strenuous, especially in the math department at the University of Oklahoma, so God bless them. But no, I'm not a meteorologist. I'm just the Baldy-in-Chief who was given a gift by God to be able to communicate the weather and communicate severe weather information in a somewhat uncharacteristic manner. So that is why we're here. That is why Texas Storm Chasers is in its 15th year of existence. And that is why, even if the National Weather Service says, hey, you're just storm chasers, you don't need to be into a grumpy old man. I'm not old, but I feel east towards the city of Prosper. Minutes. It's already probably hailing in Little Elm, it's going to get worse. This may impact the west-northwest sides of Frisco, moving up eventually again towards Salina, about 7:15 to 7:20. This thunderstorm is generating golf ball to, at times, baseball-size hail. Seeing a pretty good surge of wind come out of it now over the lake. So some of that hail may be wind-driven. In fact, let's do this because there is a terminal Doppler weather radar literally right down the road. Let's see. We're literally using a radar 5 miles away, so we're able to see this. You see, that makes me a little nervous, I will admit. I don't like that. This is a signal for some low-level rotation. We're seeing winds over Lakewood Village right now, probably 65 miles an hour in a heavy hail core. So, I'll let our folks know. Lakewood Village likely getting blown away right now with 60 to 70 driven baseballs. Starting to see a circulation on TDWR approaching 423 between El Dorado and the Colony. Okay, so that's our internal chat program we have with our chasers, by the way. Sirens are going off. Sirens are going to go off for storms capable of golf ball size hail or larger, winds 70 miles an hour or higher, or a tornado. Remember, they are outdoor warning sirens. That's what they are meant to warn for. They're not meant to warn for folks indoors, but for hail that big, it obviously will warn folks because that is the concern for folks outdoors. You see this? I'm a little intrigued by the signature now. I know, all of y'all watching this are like, what are we looking at? It's a bucket of spell paint. This is low-level velocity we're looking at. We're literally using a terminal Doppler weather radar. They were installed after the Delta 191 crash, the Lockheed 1011 back in the mid-80s at DFW. These update every minute. Very, very detailed radars. They only have a range of about 30 to 40 miles, but they're good at wind shear detection, and that's what you're looking at here. We got winds moving towards this radar down here off the Sam Rayburn Tollway in the Colony. These winds probably, at this point, in West Little Elm to Lakewood Village, 50, 60 miles an hour out of the northwest. Watching winds on the east side of this radar inbound at about...
Oh, I hate weather.
At Storm Chaser Adam Lucio. By the way, when I mentioned the Lakewood Village thing, in case you're wondering why he hates weather, Adam lives in Lakewood Village. In fact, his new vehicle, his new Tank 3.0 storm chasing vehicle is currently in Lakewood Village, still being assembled. So it just had its first hail intercept in all likelihood on its own. I hope it survived. But he's in southern Oklahoma right now, so it always feels great when you as a storm chaser drive, 150 miles away, only to have one of the storms of the day, per se, pretty much hit your house. Welcome to storm chasing, by the way. All right. So let's go back to the actual radar. Well, first off, let's take a look. We got a storm over downtown Fort Worth. Maybe starting to intensify a bit. That's moving north. It's doing what this storm did earlier. This storm we're dealing with, with the golf ball size hail in Little Elm.
Well, I'll start making my way there. These little stringy hailers by Medill, just kind of doing the same thing, so yeah, maybe I'll catch that storm as it moves northeast.
Excuse me. This storm, again, that's in Denton County, moving towards Little Elm and Prosper. It was like this storm in downtown Fort Worth. When it was over Fort Worth, it was a little bean dropping nickel-size hail. It got up to Keller and was like, ooh, I want to be a supercell. And it went from little baby storm to storm with quarter-size hail to storm with baseball-size hail in the span of about 15 minutes. So, yeah. When they decide to go, they go quick, and we're going to keep an eye on this storm for sure. Okay, we got a tornado warning now for Denton, Collin counties.
A new tornado warning has been issued for Collin and Denton County in Texas.
Okay, this is going to be a tornado warning for that circulation we were just discussing. Hey, I do know what I'm talking about. Isn't it nice sometimes? Okay, it's going to be a tornado warning for eastern Denton, western Collin County. So now we do have a tornado warning problem to discuss. This is going to be a tornado warning for a severe thunderstorm located near Hackberry, Lake Louisville, moving northeast at 30. We'll see the warning polygon pop up here in just a second. But again, if you are in the cities of Little Elm, Frisco, Prosper, you need to take your tornado safety precautions. That's going to be lowest floor, center room, away from windows. Take as many, or put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. All right? All right, I don't know why the warning isn't popping in here, but again, we do have a tornado warning now until 7:30, give or take. And that is going to be a tornado warning. There you go. Tornado warning includes Little Elm, Prosper, Frisco. So we want y'all to enact your tornado safety precautions. That's going to be lowest floor, center room, away from windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. If you have time, grab a helmet and some hard sole shoes. I want to be clear, I still think the main issue with this is going to be hail, but yes, we can't rule out a tornado. No, I don't want you to freak out. I don't want you to panic and think it's the end of the world. This is Texas. We're going to get through it. Trust me, if I thought you had a reason to panic, I'd be screaming like a billy goat right now, and I'm not screaming like a billy goat. But again, it's a tornado warning, and like I said, for as much grief as I give the Weather Service right now because of their national policies, thanks, federal government, these local Weather Service offices, they have people in them that live here, work here, and they know what they're doing. And so when they put a warning out, I trust it. So again, seeing increasing low-level rotation now, just